31. Because page 31 is like an overall map of the Southlands. You know, you got the Valley, you got Venice. Los Angeles is a huge city. Did you guys know that? I mean, you go right past Calabasas, boom, you're in Los Angeles City. Whole San Fernando Valley is Los Angeles City. And then they actually extend, because they wanted to have the harbor connected to the city, this 2-block wide finger of Los Angeles, all throughout South Central, all the way down to Long Beach. I mean, seriously, you could enter Los Angeles City and Calabasas and take 2 hours to get to the other end, especially with traffic. So, the regions of this on page 31, cephalic is head, brachial is arm, so if it supplies both, it's brachiocephalic. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Subclavian, next to subclavian, right, under the clavicle. Sub means under. Under the clavicle. Axillary is armpit.
Damn it.
Brachial is arm. Radial is lateral forearm. Ulnar is medial forearm. Radius goes to the thumb, right? And then palmar is the palm. Everybody got those? Iliac is hip. Femoral is thigh. Popliteal is behind the knee. That's the posterior side of the knee.
Where is that?
Tibial is medial leg. Fibular is lateral leg. Plantar is the foot.
Oh, I didn't know we were doing
Okay, everybody got these? Okay, now look on page 30. The dashed line going across the page is the diaphragm. The dashed line going across the page is the diaphragm. It's this dashed line. Again, there is no answer on Lab Exam 4 for which single word aorta gets you a full point. For example, what we covered on page 29, green is ascending aorta. Then in red, aortic arch. That's number 2. And then as soon as the blood starts going down, it's descending thoracic aorta. In fact, there is no answer on Lab Exam 4 for which descending aorta will get you the full point. It's either descending thoracic aorta, number 13, which goes all the way down to the dashed line, and then once you're underneath the diaphragm, it's descending abdominal aorta, number 50.
Okay.
Everybody got that? Even descending aorta won't get you the full point. It's either descending thoracic aorta or descending abdominal aorta.
And that blue one is,
Descending thoracic aorta. And there's your numbers right here. 1, 2, and 13.
okay, let's see.
In our species, there are 3 branches that come off the aortic arch, which is odd because it's an odd number. And you see symmetrical creatures, things are even, right? It has to do with the way our circulatory systems develop. Actually, you know, your heart started out as just a tube, and then it did its S curve, and the S curve became the 4 chambers of the heart. Then it starts rotating and tilting to the left, and because of that, some of these vessels fuse. In order, the 3 branches that come off the aortic arch are brachiocephalic trunk, 3. Left, common carotid artery in light blue. Left subclavian artery in purple. Just learn it in order, and you won't get it mixed up. Brachiocephalic trunk, left common carotid artery, left subclavian artery. That would be 3, 4L, and 7L.
So we need to say left on the common carotid
Yes.
artery and left on the subclavian?
Yes. All right, so let's talk about that. You wrote on the top of page 30 that these are all systemic vessels, right? Arteries are red, veins are blue. You need to say, you must write on lab exam 4, right or left, only when appropriate, and artery and vein, only when appropriate. You lose a half point for each. So say for instance I pinned the right radial artery and all you said was radial. Well, you lose a half point for not saying right, and you lose a half point for not saying artery. You get no points for radial. Everybody got it?
Yeah.
You must say right or left, and you must say artery and vein when appropriate. Here's the key for right and left. Are you guys writing this down? Paying attention? The only time it's appropriate to say right or left is if you have a symmetrical counterpart. The only time you can say right or left is when there is a symmetrical counterpart. Can I give you an example? Look at my drawing here. My roadmap. Number 3. Everybody see number 3?
Yeah.
It's on the right side.
Yeah.
It's only on the right side, but you do not say right because there's no left counterpart. There's only one, and it's on the right side. So look at number 3 on page 30. It just says brachiocephalic trunk. It does not say right brachiocephalic trunk because there's nothing on the left. There's no left counterpart. It's only on the right. You just say brachiocephalic trunk. Now go to the right column, straight across on page 30. On the venous side, there are symmetrical counterparts, so you must say right or left brachiocephalic veins. Because there are symmetrical counterparts on the venous side, there's only one on the arterial side, and it's on the right. Does everybody get the rule that you must say right or left only when appropriate, and it's only appropriate when there are symmetrical counterparts?
Yeah.
Everybody got it?
Yeah.
Did I say that too fast?
Will we lose a point for saying right brachiocephalic trunk?
What's that?
Will we lose a
Oh
point?
yeah, you lose a half point. If you say right or left where you shouldn't,
We don't.
you lose a half point.
Okay. Dang.
Are there any questions? Okay. So on the heart model, same thing. This is 1, 2, and 13. This is the left coronary artery from page 29. 1, 2, 13. The 3 branches, 3, 4L, 7L. Everybody got those?
Yes.
A lot faster with numbers, isn't it?
Aortic arch.
Does everybody have these? Use your mouse. Does everybody have these?
Yes.
All right, this is this guy. I'll put this over here. One, 2, 13. One, 2, 13. 3, 4L, 7L.
7L's that light lavender color?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of a pain because the veins are anterior, they sit on top of the arteries, so
So it's on the
you
right.
don't get a really good view of the arteries. That's how it is in the cadaver. This is a heart lung, that's on the middle shelf of that cart. 1, 2, 13.
1, 2, 13. 1, 2, 13.
3, 4L, 7L. Does everybody have these?
What's that lower green? 1? 1? Okay.
Yeah, that's one.
I put yellow as 1. Okay, 1, 3. Okay.
1, 2, 13. You can actually see because of the rotation of the heart that it's actually more posterior. 13 is actually more posterior than 1. 3, 4L, 7L. Now you may be wondering, well, what happens to the right common carotid artery and the right subclavian artery? Well, that's what the brachiocephalic has fused. And it's only a couple inches of it being fused. Brachiocephalic trunk, and then it splits, because the word trunk means it's fused, it's about to split. That one there is 4R. That one there is 7R. Under the clavicle. Both of those come from the brachiocephalic trunk. Because what does trunk mean?
Fused.
Fused is going to split. In this case, it splits into right common carotid and right subclavian arteries.
It's easier to see that on yours there, but can you show where it fuses there?
No,
Okay.
because the veins are in the way.
Oh, okay.
Veins are anterior to the arteries.
Okay.
Okay, that's 1 and 2 and 3.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
That's 4R and 4L.
What's the 1, 2, 3? Same colors, right? 1 is green.
Yes, this is 1. 1,
Pink is 2.
2, 3.
Oh.
4R, 4L, 7R, 7L.
Okay. 7L.
We're going to 4 today. So I'm trying to get through this. All right, are we ready to move on now? Have we beat that horse dead?
Yeah.
I feel like I have. All right, that's 2,
Okay.
3, the 7s, 7R, 7L, and the 4s.
Okay. 4L.
Now we're concentrating just the left side here, going up to the head. Whichever one goes on the temple, that is the external carotid artery, 5. So what's on that blue arrow is 5L. We also have one on this side. The light green disappears. It's going to the base of the skull. That is 6 internal carotid arteries.
Oh, God.
But if you put your hands on your temples right here, you might be able to feel a pulse. That's your external carotid arteries going up your temples. Everybody got it?
Mm-hmm.
The internal carotid arteries disappears. Where do you think it's headed? headed to the base of the skull. And a hole in the base of the skull. Which hole? Carotid canal. Internal carotid arteries goes up into the carotid canal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Same color arrows here. The blue one is the external, the light green is the internal. It disappears. Dark green on the bottom is 4L, left common carotid artery. Because common means it's about to split. You can see the split right there.
Oh, I like that better.
But you can see the one that's going on top of the zygomatic arch. That has to be the external.
Okay, so this is like a deep image of it.
And you can see the light green one, the internal carotid, the left internal carotid artery, it's disappearing, it's headed to the base of the skull. Everybody see that? The external's going up over the zygomatic arch and actually goes up in here over your temporalis, which is why you can feel your pulse on there. Okay, have we beat this horse dead?
Yeah.
That's these guys on wheels. So don't go by whether or not it's posterior or anterior. Go by process of elimination. The one going on top of the zygomatic arch, that has got to be the external carotid artery. This has got to be the internal. All right, let's move on, can we?
Yes.
Okay, so we're just going to concentrate on the right side here now. So brachiocephalic trunk in yellow, that's 3, splits into 4R and 7R. Then there's going to be some lanes that split off to supply the ball and socket shoulder joint, and after that splits off, the freeway changes names to right axillary artery, which is 8. And I'm going to stop on the left side. I'm only going to do the right side. Then some more lanes split off to supply the proximal humerus and the side of the body. When those lanes split off, it changes to the brachial artery, 9R.
9R.
This is the right arm. Radius goes to the thumb. So just proximal, you guys remember the cubital fossa? Just proximal to that, the brachial artery splits into right radial artery and right ulnar arteries in pink. Yeah, ulnars are pink. So it's 10. All right, is this obvious that this is a thumb?
Yeah.
Going to the thumb. Okay? Now, all your extremities have what is called collateral circulation. All your extremities. I'm going to explain this in a second. You can actually see it here. How many extremities do we have?
Are you counting on each side or just
Whole body, how many extremities do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
It's like you guys are a bunch of aliens, just throwing out all these numbers.
I was counting them.
5. And I'm not just talking about males.
Legs, arms, head.
2 hands, 2 feet, and your head. Your head is an extremity. You guys get your minds out of the gutter. All right, so go down to the bottom left on page 30, the bottom left box, brain circulation, where it says cerebral arterial circle. That's the collateral circulation in your head. Everybody got it? What is collateral circulation? Well, here is the right arterial palmar arch. You need 4 words for the full point.
Right?
Right arterial palmar arch. Everybody see that? 12R. Right arterial palmar arch. This is what collateral circulation means. Instead of this radial artery running into a vein, it actually runs into the ulnar artery. The ulnar and radial arteries actually join up. Why is that? And it's because in everyday reality of life, there are things floating in your bloodstream that don't belong. Happens all the time. You have things in your blood to take those things out. Are we clear? Now as you get to the extremities, notice how the blood vessels get progressively smaller. So say for instance, you have something floating in your blood that don't belong, whether it's a clump of bacteria, which would be bad news, or a small blood clot. It's just floating in there, there's things, enzymes breaking it down, but it can't break it down for some reason until it gets here, and right at that yellow arrowhead, it gets lodged in that small artery. Everybody understand that?
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't have collateral circulation, you would have a problem. But now, because of collateral circulation, if blood stops here, no worries. It'll come in from the other side. Collateral circulation. And eventually what's in the blood will take that thing out. And it's like it was never there, and you never noticed it got plugged for a while. Everybody got that?
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't have collateral circulation, everything distal to that would die. You don't have to worry, you're just going to get it from the other side. Are we clear?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so here's the right arms. They don't have to take all the muscles off of that. Okay, are you guys ready? I need for you to pay attention to this. This might be a point. This is not on page 30, because this is a bow. This is the clavicle. So right clavicle for this light blue arrow. There's no number on it. These are all rights. Those are right arms. If that's a clavicle, what must this be in purple? The name means under the clavicle. That's the right subclavian artery.
Subclavian.
Everybody look at me. I know you're tired, but I've been grading lab reports, so I'm more tired than you are. The key to this model says that's axillary. Well, if your armpit is underneath your clavicle, you got one messed up body. I don't care what the key says, because you got a picture of it, that's going to be subclavian for you because it's under the clavicle. Everybody got it? You have to move up here to this to get to right axillary artery. You can actually see the branches come off. And then some more branches come off, boom, that's right brachial artery. Go with the numbers up here. It's 9R. Then it splits. This side's going to the thumb, right radial artery. That one's right ulnar artery. And it splits just proximal to the cubital fossa. And then at the very top is the collateral circulation, 4 words, right arterial palmar arch at the top.
Right.
Everybody got these? Close up of the collateral circulation.
Oh, son of a. Choked me right now.
Okay, everybody got this?
Yes.
Okay, this is the half-size muscle models. We'll have to get those out again. This is the left arm that sticks out. So these are all lefts, but it's equivalent. There's the clavicle, so what is that down there?
Subclavian.
Left subclavian artery. That's the armpit there. Left axillary artery. Left brachial artery. it splits into left radial artery, left ulnar artery. Again, right on the proximal side of the cubital fossa.
Okay.
I'm saying this because when you're taking blood pressures, you want to put the diaphragm just on the proximal side of the cubital fossa, because it's really easy to hear the pulse where the brachial artery splits.
Got it.
Again, these are all lefts. Everybody got it?
So, pink is the right or
All lefts.
all left? Oh,
All right.
sorry.
This is the 13 descending thoracic aorta, and intercostal arteries are symmetrical, so you have to say these are 14 L's. You have 14 R's on the other side.
Right here?
Now, when we do the veins next week, there are going to be places where the veins parallel the arteries. Take advantage of that, because you're actually learning it once. There's going to be a lot of places where they don't parallel. Intercostal arteries and veins are an example of that doesn't parallel. Okay? Any questions?
So that yellow was intercostal?
Okay, we need to get going on the heart dissections here. And I'm not going to do a dissection, you guys have to do all of this stuff.
Yeah. And then 13. Thank you.